Alrighty, PETA is once again trending on the internet, and if you've been chronically online for the past 5 minutes, you probably already know that this is a really bad thing. Now, this time around, PETA is trending because PETA decided to target a Japanese multimedia franchise known as Uma Musume Pretty Derby for the sake of horse racing welfare. They used Silent Suzuka from Uma Musume Pretty Derby depicted with a broken leg for their recent social media post that has gone viral to push their message on the horse racing welfare. And it did not go well. They're going through crazy backlash right now. PETA will caption their photo saying, "If Uma Musume Pretty Derby were honest, your favorite horse girl doesn't get a comeback arc. One failed event and the race is over forever, just like what happened to the real Silent Suzuka." Now, that part alone is not controversial. Again, the topic on the welfare of horse races is serious and it's real. There's been many debates about how horses are trained, how they're taken care of, how do we go about the injuries of horses. This is a serious topic. And what better way to upset the masses by taking Silent Suzuka from Uma Musume Pretty Derby and weaponizing a tragic incident where Silent Suzuka would have a crazy leg injury from the Tenosho race in 1998. If you really want to understand the popularity of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, I definitely recommend you check out my previous video where I kind of break that down for you. Assuming you don't have the time, I'm gonna break it down very simply. Uma Musume Pretty Derby is a Japanese multimedia franchise where they take real-life Japanese racehorses and reimagine them into horse girls. These horse girls are in races, events that are inspired by true instances. I'm gonna show you Silent Suzuka because Silent Suzuka is right now in the spotlight, of course, and I'm gonna show you both the real-life incident that took place in a Tenosho race in 1998 and the anime depiction of that same event. Check it out. 大丈夫なのか、捕まえることはできるのか、大欅の向こうを過ぎていきました。サイレンスズカ、予定通りにはちょっとここで手応えがどうなんだ。さあ、ここで抑えるような格好、ちょっとサイレンスズカに故障発生です。なんということだ。4コーナーを迎えることなくレースを終えた武豊、沈黙の日曜日。
なんということでしょう。これは大変なことになりました。サイレンススズカ、大丈夫でしょうか。大欅の向こうで一体何が起こったのか。場内はPETA didn't just take a dart, throw it at a wall full of horse girls and say, all right, we're going to choose Silent Suzuka to convey our message here. They specifically targeted her because Silent Suzuka's career was amazing, but it just ended in the most tragic way possible. Cygames, the people behind Uma Musume Pretty Derby, they handled that situation with care and respect. They wasn't in it for the shock factor. They weren't in it for the brutality of it. You can really tell that the scene was handled with emotion. It was handled with care. And they knew that it was a very delicate topic. And this is what makes PETA's choice to even make that post even worse. Because it's exploitation disguised as advocacy, if that makes sense. Instead of just respecting Silent Suzuka's name, you decide, yeah, let's just take an anime depiction of Silent Suzuka, slap a broken leg on that image, and let's just post it on the internet to push our message. Like, that's textbook exploitation. That's really all it is. And of course, the backlash would follow up after that post. People have every right to be upset. Not because PETA doesn't care about animal welfare. I'm pretty sure that they do. But it's because you're already taking a character like Silent Suzuka and taking their story and you're already posting it on social media when we already know that it represents the dangers of horse racing. We know that horses are going to get injured. Sometimes jockeys get injured. This is the real dangers of horse racing. This post really doesn't educate anyone. You're just hijacking an existing emotional situation and you're just stripping it of its nuances just to prove a point. Your post that you make on social media, like what you saw with PETA,
is being overshadowed. The message itself is being overshadowed by the backlash, where the backlash is mainly critiquing how you went about it, critiquing the shock value, the brutality of it, then yes, you've already lost that argument, and there's nothing you can do to come back from that. Talking about how Silent Suzuka didn't get a comeback arc, PETA's not getting a comeback arc from that. What I'm really showing you, or I'm trying to tell you, is that the way how PETA went about it is absolutely unnecessary. It's not about the message. No one's arguing about the message. It's mainly how they went about it. There's this pattern that PETA has where whenever they're marketing, I'll just call it marketing. Their marketing is all about outrage. I am convinced that PETA is a rage baiting company. They swear they're about animals' rights, they're advocates, or they're the leading advocates for animal rights, but I swear they're the leading advocates for rage baiting, because everything they do it to get attention. And they've even admitted it at some point. They're like, yeah, we're about attention. We want to make sure that our message end up in journalist headlines so that people can see it and they can understand our mission. They can learn about PETA and what we're all about. When honestly, PETA is really a trash company. They really are. They're a terrible organization. If there's ever one organization, a nonprofit organization, mind you, an advocacy group that you can hate, it is definitely PETA. Because at the end of the day, PETA doesn't care if you agree. They just want your attention. That's it. If they have your attention, if you're engaging with them, that's the point. They could care less if you agree with them or if you want to argue with them. Because this is the core issue here. And let me disclose once more, they are completely right about the welfare of racehorses. They ain't wrong about that. That is something we could have a discussion on. They are just wrong about how they communicated it. Full stop. You simply just don't disrespect something that people already care about, especially when something has already been handled with delicacy and care. Look at the Steve Irwin situation back in 2019. PETA made a post after Google made a doodle of Steve Irwin honoring his birthday back in 2019. And PETA, just like the Michael Jordan interview meme, sat there and said, I took that personally. PETA would go on to make a tweet about the Google doodle that was honoring Steve Irwin on his birthday and saying Steve Irwin was killed while harassing a ray, or a stingray for those that don't know. He dangled his baby while feeding a crocodile and wrestled wild animals who were minding their own business. Today's Google Doodle sends a dangerous fawning message. Wild animals are entitled to be left alone in their natural habitat. Of all people that you could really just bash on is Steve Irwin. You would have thought Steve Irwin would have been one of their closest allies. They're all about animal rights advocacy. And of all people that you can just take a dookie on and just smear the dookie on their gravestone is Steve Irwin, of all people. Again, PETA is not wrong here. We should be minding our own business. We should let animals live in their natural habitat without any human disturbance. And imagine PETA just coming out of nowhere saying, well, maybe if Steve Irwin would mind his own business and let animals do their own thing, maybe if he stayed in his lane, he would still be here today. So yeah, PETA managed to unite multiple communities and suffer some major backlash. This isn't the first time that PETA has done something like this, and I guarantee you this won't be the last time. PETA just really unified almost the entire internet between gamers, anime fans, horse racing fans, and they're all collectively saying, that ain't it, chief. And I'm a big fan of Uma Musume, mind you. Y'all probably watch me stream it on YouTube or on Twitch. I sometimes play the game on stream, but I usually play it almost at a daily basis. And I just had to talk about this because it's something that I care about, and I thought this whole thing was just absolutely silly. That's really all I have for y'all. Take care. See you in my next video. Peace.